At Lincoln Nutrition and Fitness, home of CrossFit Lincoln, our passion is positively impacting and changing lives by creating a strong, brave, healthy community through coaching and education. We talk about nutrition, fitness, mindset, and more. From the Row Flicks studio, it's Phil Kniep, Paul Konarski, Emily Breedy, and I'm Aaron Perkypile. Welcome to CrossFit Lincoln Connection. Welcome, everybody, to CrossFit Lincoln Connection. I'm Aaron Perkypile in the Row Flicks studio with Tommy Dornish, our April 2021 Athlete of the Month. Welcome, Tommy, to the studio.
Thank you. This is the biggest honor I've had this April.
This April?
Yes.
That's great.
And probably my March, too.
Tell me what other honors you've had that made other Aprils better.
Other Aprils better?
Yeah.
One time I got to go to the Players' Championship, but that was early May,
so
man. This might actually be the best. Oh no, I had my son last April, so that was my biggest April honor.
So that means he's almost 1 year old. When's his birthday?
April 19th, so a week from today.
Awesome.
Yep.
You got a big party planned?
Yep, we got a space themed party planned with space cakes. We're gonna play the Space Jam theme song on repeat.
Love it.
Yep. Little cake, popsicle planet. So. All of this planned by my lovely wife.
And he has no clue.
No, and he probably won't have any clue even after he does it. So
the first birthday or two are for you anyway.
Yeah, I feel like it's mainly for Kira and my mom and her mom. So they're gonna love it.
Grandparents get to be there?
Yep.
Awesome. Where do they live at?
My family lives in Columbus, Nebraska, and Kira's family lives here in Lincoln. So
okay.
Yeah, it's pretty close. It'll be just the families and maybe a couple friends will join us as well.
Yeah, so you mentioned that your son was born right after everything kind of shut down.
Mm-hmm.
What's your son's name?
Jude.
Jude. All right, so Jude was born right after everything shut down. You've just been holed up at home with each other. Have you gone crazy yet?
No, it's actually been a surprisingly sweet time where the world kind of stopped turning for a bit, but for us, we just got to spend so much quality time with my wife and my son. So the silver lining for us is that that time has been very meaningful, and we've got to do just watch him grow up probably more than we would have if we didn't have COVID, just to spend a lot of time with him.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. So tell me a little bit about yourself. Where did you grow up?
Sure. So I was born in Maryland. My dad was in the Air Force, so we moved a little bit. We moved to Nebraska to be at Offutt Air Force Base, then to North Dakota, and then back to Offutt before he got out when I was 12. From there, we moved to Columbus, Nebraska, where I grew up mainly, and I went to high school and middle school there. And then that's where I met my wife, Kira. I was in high school. And then we both went to college at University of Nebraska, and we've been in Lincoln for the most part since then. And we spent a few years, 3 years in Washington, D.C., and then we moved back to Lincoln in 2019. So Lincoln, I would say, is home.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, you said that you have worked remotely for quite a while now, even before things kind of shut down, before quarantine.
Yep.
Did you and your wife both work remotely before that?
Yep. So when we live on the East Coast, the culture there is a little bit different anyway. So you can work from home even though your office is there. So we'd go into the office 3 or 4 days a week.
Okay.
The whole time we lived there, so 3 years, and then you'd always have Fridays at home and maybe Mondays. And then when we moved back to Nebraska in August of 2019, it was right pre-pandemic, and we were going to be full-time remote from then, and then the whole world went full-time remote.
Yeah. So tell me, what are some of your strategies for being successful working remotely, working from home?
Okay, some of my strategies: you have to take a walk during that. You have to get outside, or your day will just feel super long, and you don't get very many steps in your home office. So you got to get outside a little bit. You got to do happy hours still, so you can do those virtually with your work friends. Everyone grab a drink of choice and meet up at 3 on Zoom, or my wife and I do our own, where we just walk to a little restaurant or something nearby on Fridays. So you got to keep a fun, positive work culture. And then I would recommend doing something like getting in a fantasy football league with your coworkers, or scheduling some sort of time, because you're going to be productive. In my opinion, you're going to be really productive. You're not distracted very at all, but your enjoyment is gonna be pretty low. I think the fun parts of work suffer way more than the productivity.
Sure. How do you battle I know that when people first started to have to work from home, all of a sudden they're like, I feel like I'm working way more, right? So you're super productive, but I don't know when my day ends, and I just, everything blends together. You know, we kind of joked beforehand where with COVID, it's a time warp.
Yeah.
I think Levi said that. And like, it just, every day feels like exactly the same.
Yeah. So every day can feel exactly the same. And how do we battle like the boredom or just like the feel, or I guess feeling maybe overworked? I've always been someone that sets super clear boundaries with my own employer. Like work-life balance for me is super important.
Sure.
So I just tell my coworkers, and like, I think if you set expectations right away, most people are like on board.
Yeah.
But like, hey, like I'm off at 5. Like that's kind of the end of the road, which since I work East Coast time is 4 for me. So that's pretty nice. Lets me go to the gym at 4:30, which is awesome. And so, you know, I work a little bit earlier in the day, but that's totally fine. If there's no commute, 7 is really nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd set clear boundaries and say, hey, like, you know, this is when I'm going to be working. This is when I'm available. And then I don't have like my work email on my phone or anything like that. So once I shut my laptop.
You're so brave.
Well, like I said, if you set the expectations at the beginning, every employer I've had so far has been like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's kind of once they like kind of get used to you being available. From what I've seen, my wife has this issue a little bit in that, you know, they'll like reach out later, but for me, it's never happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So that's my opinion.
Yeah. So how did you find CrossFit Lincoln, Lincoln Nutrition and Fitness?
So I did Orange Theory in DC, and it was like fun. I did it with some friends and my wife and our group of friends there, and we had a good time. But I wanted to try to get stronger, and that I wasn't getting stronger there. I was just getting better shape, which is awesome. And my motivation is like extremely vain, but I desperately want to get on the show Survivor or Big Brother.
Okay.
And so I was like, I gotta look good, because like the tryouts are in April and May is when like they want you to like submit videos. So October, when we first moved back from DC, I was like what's like the hardest thing I can think of in terms of working out? And I need a schedule. I found out that like through going to Orange Theory that like having those class times that I can sign up for is super helpful. So it's like CrossFit, like that has a reputation for being really hard. So and challenging. So I was like, I got to sign up for that. I've got 6 months to get in like the best shape looking and hopefully in real life because of all the challenges and stuff. So I was like, I joined the gym and I met with Phil and with Aaron, and they're like, why do you want to join? And I was like a little embarrassed at the time. I was like, well, like 6 months from now I'm trying out for Big Brother, so I got to look really good. So that's pretty much was the motivation to start.
Yeah.
But like it only took me 2 months to realize like I was going to do it whether I got on the show or not.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Did you get on?
No, not yet. But I just submitted my video for Big Brother 2 weeks ago, and I'm going to submit my Survivor video in May when they open.
Awesome.
So I'm going to try until I go on to the next plane of existence. So
what are some tips for submitting a good video for Big Brother or Survivor?
well, I wish I knew, because then I would do that. But they say just be yourself, but like turn yourself up to 110%. So
Okay.
I try that. You know, you pitch the weird stuff about you to try to like, because they like to pitch, they like to cast like archetypes and stuff. So
Sure.
you try to like, you don't want to just be like a generic thing, but you want to like give them like a little bit of a head start on like how they could position you, because they
Sure.
want to tell a good story.
Sure.
Yeah.
So what archetype are you trying to?
Pre-kid, I was trying to say like, hey, like I'll do anything. Like I've run with the bulls in Spain. Like I've paraglided in the Himalayas. Like I've tried to say like I like to thrill seek. Like I do whatever it takes to win. Post-kid, they sometimes like to cast these people that are like, oh, I had to leave my kid. Like it's just a sad, like like my heartthrob type thing. So I've tried that angle this year. We'll see if it works.
Awesome. What kind of sparked wanting to get on that show, or on either of those shows?
Yeah. So I would consider myself somebody that like, I really enjoy the social manipulation part of those games where you are like lying and you're like trying to like fool people into like trusting you and stuff. But like more than that, this is going to be weird, but back like in college, the student section's general admission. And so people just line up like maybe even a day in advance of a football game to try to get in the front of a student section. And so me and my friends would do that, and it's just like a bull rush. There's like 70 students. You get funneled into like just like one of those walkways up the ramps.
Yep.
And it's just like a free-for-all. Like there's elbows, there's grabbing, because if you get to the front, you're in the front. So, and we found out like me and a couple of friends were really good at it. Like we were in the front my entire student section career. So, and we were proud of it and we loved it. And I was like, what is the Super Bowl of running through crowds of people. And that's what took me to running with the bulls. So then I went to Spain and did that. And it really was the most insane running through a massive people experience that I think is possible. And then from there, I was like, what's like that, not like the running through people, like the physical challenges where you're like just like competing like as hard as you can and like obstacles and like stuff like that. And I was like, and I've always kind of liked Big Brother, and I just recently got into Survivor, and I was like, that would be like the pinnacle. Yeah. So that's my motivation.
That's crazy.
So it's weird, but.
How long ago did you run with the bulls in Spain?
That was in 2018 or 2018.
So you were married?
I was married.
Okay. Did Kira go with you?
She went with me. She would have run, but I would have just been a nervous wreck if she did. So I asked her not to. It was like a bucket list item for me, and I was like, I will freak out if like, because there's tens of thousands of people all dressed the same. You've got full white on with like the red scarf and a sash, and it's like I know I'm gonna lose you. Like there's not possible to stay together. Yeah. And I'll just be thinking of like the worst. Yeah. So she was graceful and just watched, and she had a great time as well. But me and two of my friends did it, and it was rainy that day, and it was cobblestones, and like. It was the biggest rush ever. It was so fun.
How close were you to the bulls?
Within feet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, it's only 800 meters from start to finish. Okay. And you can start anywhere along that track. And we probably started at about 150 meters. Yeah. And then you just run up this hill and you lead the bulls into this thing. But, like, you can't run at your full speed because there's too many people. So you're really just, like, pushing, like, in a big mass of people. And so the bulls can run because they don't care what's in front of them. Right. And so, really, like, unless you start at, like, meter 500 or so, you're going to get passed by the bulls. Wow. You just can't run fast enough. Yeah. Because the people are in the way.
And how many are there? How many bulls are running?
7.
Okay.
7 bulls. It's either 7 or 9. It's an odd number. But they lead them into the ring, and then they lead them right out the other side. And once you run, if you're fast enough, you can follow them into the arena. And then the part I didn't know about is after they take those 7 out, they let like a young, super hyper bull in to the ring, and your goal is try to like smack it on its butt.
Really?
Yeah. And so there's like hundreds of people in this thing. So like you can't even see it half the time because there's people everywhere. And so all of a sudden the crowd like clears and this bull's running at you, and you're like trying to get out of the way. So it was really exciting. I don't know if I'd do it again. Like it's kind of like a one and done, but I would, if you're interested in stuff like that, it was as advertised. It was as exciting as I imagined it to be.
Man, so how long ago, like growing up, were you always this thrill seeker, like really excited about these types of things?
Yeah, I was like the kind of the kid that like we'd like try to get into parkour and stuff where we would climb on top of buildings, sure. Like, and I've always been snowboarding, and like we do like the extreme terrain and whatever the scary stuff we can find on a mountain we'll try and do. So I think so. Yeah, I've always kind of found that to be rewarding and exciting to try to like push your like limits of fear and stuff. Yeah. And so like I'm afraid of heights, but I forced myself to bungee jump one time in Africa where like it was like a little bit sketchy. Like they bungee jump over the Nile River, and they try to dial in your weight like on a crank system so that your hands brush the water at the bottom. And like 2 guys before me, they like got the weight wrong, and he just went straight into the river, like up to his waist, and like got concussed and like black eyes. Like I was sweating. I was like, please do not get my weight wrong. And they got it right. So, but it was a little sketchy.
Is your wife a thrill seeker too?
Not as much. Yeah. She would have run with the bulls, so she's not, adverse, but she doesn't seek it out. Sure. So she would do some of these things with me, if I find them and set them up.
So it seems like CrossFit would be boring after all that stuff.
No. CrossFit is not boring at all because I'm not great at it yet. So, it's still every time I go, I'm like excited, but like I look at the workout, and I'm like, I'm gonna die. It's so challenging.
Sure.
Yeah.
So how long have you been at CrossFit Lincoln then?
Over a year, probably like just maybe a couple months over a year. Okay. Because I started after I got back from DC. We spent like a month in Alaska and a couple weeks in Hawaii. So it'd been like November of last year, probably. Okay. Of 19. Yeah. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's been kind of the biggest eye opener for you?
How fast you can get better at stuff if you try. Like when I first went to CrossFit, there's stuff that I was like, how can anyone do that? Like a handstand push-up to me looks impossible. And I set a goal with Paul to try to get 3 done, elevated, so not like totally strict yet. And like just by practicing, I was able to get it, you know, and like you do other exercises that help build those same muscles. But I was surprised to see how fast like you could actually accomplish it if you practice that specific type of movement and stuff like that.
What's kind of your favorite time domain? Do you have a length of workout that you prefer over others?
I think the hour is a good fit. I try to go to the 4:30 as much as possible.
Well, I guess I mean like when you're like the workouts, do you like a shorter workout or do you like that longer kind of a chipper type of a style workout?
I enjoy like probably like the 25-minute like AMRAP stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. The short ones where you got to go like really hard, those are pretty intimidating.
Yeah.
But,
favorite movement that you get to do?
Favorite movement. I like pull-ups because I used to not be able to do any, and now I can do like 10.
Yeah.
So I can tell that I've gotten a lot stronger if I can do that. So
Kira hasn't come in yet.
She's on one class. She came in as a guest. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I'm trying to get her to join. She's just like in a spot where she just had our son, and so she feels a little intimidated, but she might come around here soon.
Awesome.
She loves to work out. Once she gets into it, she would be in there more than I am. So yeah.
How many days a week do you go?
Between 3 and 4 usually. Yeah. Yep.
Was that even beforehand, or is that like how much your body can handle, or?
It's just kind of how much my schedule allows. It's like 3 or 4 days, usually earlier on in the week. I got like softball and stuff on Fridays, so it's like it's a little bit harder to.
You're super active, man.
I try to be like those are the fun things in life, right?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
What position do you play at softball?
I like to play outfield, but I pitch mostly.
Really?
Yeah. So you got to be
crafty.
Exactly. You got to be ready to dodge a ball or hopefully catch it. But in baseball I pitched, and that was my favorite. But softball, you're not striking anybody out. You're just like trying not to get killed when some 250-pound dude just smacks it right at you. So yeah.
Awesome.
It's a lot different.
So when you moved back, did you have kind of a community already?
Yeah, we have we've been members at Grace Chapel for a long time, so we have like a really good friend group from that, and like a lot of them have stayed the same. And then a lot of my college friends stuck around in Lincoln, so like we had a pretty good community moving back. We would have hoped to have seen them more, but like I said, like we moved back, and then like 2 months after, like COVID happened, and so. So it was like a little bit different than we expected, but we've been lucky that like we have family here and we have a lot of good friends here.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Now, you said that you've been doing the virtual happy hours at the end of the week.
Yep.
How do those go?
So they're not as good as a real life happy hour for real, but they're better than nothing. Right. So usually like Thursday afternoon, we call it like cookie time at my office, but like back in the day, like when we were in person, we'd like bring snacks and stuff. Yeah. But now we usually like somebody will like just say like, hey, like here's like some cookies you could make, like a recipe for like a mug cake or something. Sure. And so people might do that. And then like occasionally like maybe like have like a wine or a beer or something. Like it's kind of towards the end of the day on a Thursday. So just like, and then it's like, you're really not supposed to talk about work. Yeah. It's like just, hey, like let's have a good time. Like it's hard because it's like between 8 and 12 people, and only in Zoom, only one person can talk at a time. You have like side conversations. So it's not as, like I said, not as good, but it's better than nothing. And you just kind of chat and you try to keep like the fun social part of work alive.
Sure.
Yeah.
Have you guys traveled at all since you moved back?
Yeah, we travel is like something Kier and I like bond over and really enjoy. So I was in Vegas 2 weeks ago to play a lot of golf and do a little gambling. I did that without Kier. I did that with like my dad and my brother and my uncles. Yeah. But the week before that, Kier and I went to Mexico for a week for her 30th birthday. Awesome. So that was very fun. We've gone to Savannah, Georgia like 4 months ago. Okay. So we try to do some traveling, and we'd like to get international a little bit more than we have lately, but I think that'll happen again in 21 or 22.
Sure. So did Jude go with you to Mexico?
No. We left Jude with the grandparents. Ooh. So first solo trip without Jude. Yeah. I was like totally fine. Kira had to do some FaceTiming to, keep the anxiety away. Yeah. So, but yeah. We went with some of our friends for 30, so it was like 5 of us, and they have like a 1-year-old as well, so they were also leaving him for the first time. So they could look. The women bonded over that, and the guys went and like swam in the pool. And, no, we had a great time.
Tell me a little bit about being a new dad. What's that been like?
It's weird because it took it took me probably like 2 weeks to like feel like that a certain bond. Like I had the bond right away, but like before it became like, all right, like I'm taking care of this guy. Like, you know, he means so much to you, like more than you would think before you have a kid, how much they mean to you. Like we had a little tiny scare where like for a second he was like choking on something, and like within like I was like shaking after like we kind of patted his back and got out, and like within an hour I have like a CPR class scheduled for like tomorrow night, you know, like you're just like so careful, and like, but it's been so rewarding. It's so fun to see them hit the milestones of crawling and laughing and starting to walk now a little bit, and say dad and mom. So it's so rewarding. Like it'll put a smile on anybody's face, I think. Yeah.
What's the biggest lesson that you've learned so far being a dad?
That patience is key, almost more with like your spouse so far, because like my son is still young enough where like you're not really like disciplining or anything. He doesn't know like what is going on. He's just learning about the world. So like, but like sleep gets a little harder, especially at the beginning. And so like you're really in it as a team with your spouse. So just like, you've got to be patient, because like the kid is already going to make your life a lot different, and like a lot of energy and some stress even. And so like you don't want to add any more. So just like patience and kindness towards your spouse, I think has been the biggest lesson, and like what I've learned a lot of about. So
any advice for other new parents out there?
Okay, this is a weird piece of advice, but I feel like labor takes forever. So like, and it's not like what you see in the shows. It's not like people are yelling and freaking out. It's like you're just sitting in a hospital and your wife feels like pretty fine for us, it was like 12 hours. Someone's like, bring something to read, or it was so boring. I was like, when do we do anything? And then at like 11 at night, it like finally was like what you expect it to be, but we went at like 10 a.m.
Right.
So it's like, so I'd bring like some snacks and a book to that, because I was like, I was like telling my wife, I was like, do you want me to go get you like Jimmy John's or anything? Because I just wanted to go do something. And she's like, you're not leaving. I was like, but you're like fine. Like it's so that's one piece of advice. And then probably like another piece of advice is do something fun. Like do something fun with like your kid every day. Like make them smile, make them laugh, because that brings joy to both you and your kid. And I think it helps you bond and stuff. So.
Sure.
Yeah.
So how exciting, you ran with the Bulls and then you had a son. Do they compare in excitement or the thrill?
They compare in that you look forward to both. Nothing got my heart racing as much as watching Jude be born. Like I was so I was freaking out, like I was running with the Bulls probably, where like I was like, and I'm not like a body person, like the anatomy stuff is not for me, so I was just looking at Kira. I wasn't in on any of the action but yeah, I think they do compare in that like my heart was racing. I was so excited. It's like an excited heart race. I wasn't worried about actually dying when Jude being born, so that's the small difference. So
that's hilarious.
Yeah.
When you brought him home, I remember when we brought our son home and they put him in a car seat. First of all, we didn't know how to put him in the car seat.
Yep.
That's my advice. If you're going to have a baby and you never had one before, put a doll in the car seat so you know that it put him in right. Because we tried to put his legs through the little straps too. I didn't know that they didn't go in the straps. So his first ride home, you're just kind of like, man, I don't, like you were saying before we got started, I don't know. Where's the user manual? We don't
exactly.
Do they know how unqualified I am to take care of a little human?
That was exactly our thought. Is like when they tell you it's time to leave, you almost want to be like, no, it's not quite time. Like I need some more like training or something. But yeah, luckily the nurse came down to the car and like ensured that we put him in the car seat, right? Because we had no practice.
Yeah.
But yeah, you get him home and you carry this super fragile thing into your house, and then I just stood there for like 5 minutes. I was like, what do we do? What do we actually do right now?
Right.
And so you just learn, I guess. I don't know. Like, I think women have like a natural instincts. They kind of know a little bit. I don't know, but I was so confused. And then we didn't really read any books either. Maybe reading books helps, but we were like, okay, we'll set him down and we'll just stare at him. Oh, he's crying. Okay, pick him up. Just like every little ooh and ah, we were like, it was locked in.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was fun. I mean, that's part of the joys of those first days. It's just like the ultra focus, and like every minute thing is like something that like to you is a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah. How has CrossFit enhanced that, or made it easier, or made it harder?
So CrossFit has done a lot. Like I've enjoyed CrossFit so much. First of all, from like a COVID perspective, it was one of the only places that, even though we had a period where we were on Zoom only, where like I had like a social interaction. I mean, at work I do, but like you want your work and your life balance. So like for me, it was like so life-giving to like be able to go into the gym or see people on Zoom at least. But we got back in the gym not too like in June or something.
Yeah.
So it was like a regular part of my life where like, you know, we were distance and everything was safe, but like I got to see like some people that I'm starting to call friends, and like the coaches are, you know me by name. So for me, like the social part was so rewarding. In terms of how it's helped me with my son, I'm stronger than I used to be, so I can carry that guy around like a lot better. I don't know, but it helps build some discipline too, you know, with your schedule and with like pushing yourself mentally, and it's made my golf game a lot better. So which I care about.
Yeah, absolutely. So. Did you play this weekend?
I did.
Yeah.
I shot 84 at Holmes. I only got one birdie, but got a decent amount of pars.
Yeah.
So I was happy with it.
Yeah. Did you watch the Masters this weekend?
I did watch the Masters this weekend. I was excited for Hideki. It was exciting. I liked watching his interviews because it was the first time I've ever seen a golf interview with a translator. Yeah. So, but I'm always like in those golf pools where you have like some money on some people. So I wasn't rooting for Hideki that hard because I had some other people I was hoping like Justin Rose would do well. But, you know, it's that time of year. It's April. April's exciting for a lot of reasons. One of them is that it's golf season beginning and the Masters. So, yeah.
So did you play golf in high school or college?
I played golf in high school, and I enjoyed it. And then in college, I started my like freshman, sophomore year. I was a professional golf management major.
Okay.
And then I went and talked to a golf pro at home in Columbus, and he's like, if you like to play golf, don't get into golf. You'll play less than you think. Like, if you want to play golf, go make money and then spend that on golf. So I changed to finance after that, and I think it was good advice. I probably wasn't quite good enough at golf to be like a head pro at a golf place.
Sure.
But I like it enough to have done it. So it was good advice to switch, and I probably played more golf outside of that major than I would have if I finished it.
Sure.
So, yeah.
Have you ever thought of like trying to make the tour or?
Every time I watch the Masters, I think like I should do this, but then I go play golf and shoot 84 at Holmes and think I can't do that. So
that same golf pro would probably tell you make even more money so that you can just go be a member or a patron at the Masters.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah. I would like to play some sort of golf. I try to get in like the Lincoln City tournament each year, and I'm not going to win it, but I enjoy playing some amount of competitive golf.
Yeah.
It's always fun to like every shot matters, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
what's been your favorite course you've played?
I've played TPC Sawgrass, which is where they do the Players Championship each year. It's the Island Green 17. I did put it in the water on my first shot, but I had to tee up again. I was like, I can make the green, and I did make it the second time. That's definitely like the most prestigious course I've ever played.
Sure.
And it was a blast. I worked in Jacksonville for a summer, and one of the guys I worked with used to work there, so he got me on free because otherwise it's like $300 to play it. So in college, that would have been quite the purchase. So that's the best, but there's amazing courses in Nebraska. If you played Wild Horse in Gothenburg, it's great. You got Quarry Oaks and Iron Horse near Ashland. If you can find a way to get onto some of those private courses out west, do it. But there's good golf to be found pretty much anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you lived in D.C. for a while, but most of your time's been in Nebraska.
Yep.
How was that? Tell me about living in D.C., because I lived in the East Coast for a little while, and it is different.
What city did you live in?
So we lived up in upstate New York.
Okay, upstate.
So not even near the coast, but the Northeast is very much the same and very much different.
Yeah. So DC, so like I never even thought like living in DC as an option. Like it doesn't even seem like a city growing up. Right. It's like where you learn about history, like George Washington and stuff. You're like, okay, cool. But it has got to be like the best city I've ever visited. Once we went there and like hung out, we were like, this is awesome. And then we got the chance to move there and we jumped on it. It's very clean. So I don't know if you've ever been to like Philadelphia. It's like super dirty, but Baltimore is kind of dirty, but it's very clean. And the best part is it's free in quotes in that you pay your federal taxes, but you can go to all the Smithsonians and there's no charge. You can go to like the National Zoo and there's no charge. So you can do so many things there for free, and they're like world class, like obviously the Smithsonian's. The food scene is either the best in the country or second to New York City. They have excellent restaurants and like very famous like chefs and stuff. And so that's something Kiera and I would like enjoyed quite a bit. Something which Lincoln would pick up is they have a fantastic brunch scene. Like everywhere does brunch, and they're awesome. And like in Lincoln, you got a few good options, but it's not like everyone goes to brunch on Sundays in DC. And the weather's pretty good. Not gonna lie, it's like 70 and nice for most of the fall and spring. In Nebraska, you get like a couple of days like that each fall and spring.
Yeah.
And the people are a little different. They're friendlier than you expect, because you hear like the East Coast culture can be fast and hard. But they're very friendly. But it's like Type A central. DC is like you're gonna meet more Type A's than you would many other places. Everyone there's either working for the government or works for a contractor that contracts for the government, and everyone's wearing suit and ties everywhere. So it's a little bit faster in that regard. But people are very kind, and we recommend it to anybody. If you're like looking for like a spread your wings thing, whether it's DC or not, that was a decision that we prayed over and we're nervous to make because we had good family and friends and social life in Lincoln, and then we were going to move to DC where we knew one person.
Right.
And it was probably the best decision we possibly could have made. So
awesome.
If you have the chance, if anyone's listening and you're like, I'm kind of like in a groove, but like I wonder what it's like take the move. Like we knew we were only going to do it for a couple years or whatever, and fortunately like that's how it actually worked out. But I don't think anyone would regret it.
Yeah.
So
every time that I've visited DC, there's like just a different energy, and I think part of it is I've learned about all these different people or events that happen in DC, or even if you just loosely follow the news, and there's just a buzz or an energy. That's where policy's made from a national perspective or even international level, and it's just a very cool spot to visit. Yeah,
definitely. And in fact, like every Saturday on the mall, like you hear about like the Women's March and some of those other big time marches, and they're huge. Like there's thousands of people. But you don't hear about is like almost every other Saturday, somebody's marching.
Yeah.
And in fact, one time when we were down there, and the Insane Clown Posse, their followers are called like Gigolos or something like that.
Yeah.
They had a march. So it's all these people dressed up as like these crazy clowns, and they're marching on Washington with signs. And I mean, there's like 50 people, so it's like not huge, but like they had their own march.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, the energy there is great. The history is awesome. And if you get the chance to live there, like the history doesn't ever like diminish, but it kind of becomes part of your everyday. Like I took the metro to work, and like I stopped under the Pentagon every day. That was one of my stops. I stopped at Arlington National Cemetery. That was just like part of my commute. Yeah. So it's just kind of like, it's just cool like that it becomes part of your everyday, that like these very famous and like meaningful places.
Yeah.
So
awesome.
it was a good season for us.
What advice would you give to somebody who's considering CrossFit? I mean, you're a thrill seeker, so it maybe wasn't super scary necessarily to at least jump into, because you're like looking for something difficult.
Mm-hmm.
But what about somebody who maybe is a little less, or a little more timid, a little less of a thrill seeker?
So yeah, the CrossFit is for anybody, specifically like CrossFit Lincoln. This was my only experience with CrossFit, but like when I went to other gyms in DC, even like it was a different feel at Lincoln, and that anybody in any like amount of shape can go there and have a good workout and not feel any sort of anxiety or anything, because the coaches will work with you and help you so much. And I guess my advice would be just try it, because I've had a fantastic experience. It's fun to work out. I've started to make some friends there. Like I said, the coaches know my name, are very kind. They're always willing to help, get better at a movement. And it doesn't matter if you're like in amazing shape or terrible shape, you're going to leave exhausted at the end of a class. So like you can always be improving. Yeah. And I was not in very good shape when I went. Like I could do like 10 push-ups, no pull-ups, and now I can do like quite a bit more. And so you get to see some good gains, and you get better and stronger, which is like, I'm assuming if you're joining CrossFit, you're trying to get in better shape or get stronger, and you're going to see those results for sure.
Yeah.
But you're not going to feel awkward along the way, which I was very nervous about when I joined. And it was like I said, within like a month, I was like, I don't care if I get on Survivor or Big Brother, like this is awesome. I'm going to keep doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're an evening guy, 4:30, maybe 5:30, 6:30, depending on your schedule, but generally 4:30.
Yeah, it's almost always 4:30 or noon would be the other one I go to. If I can like get away from work for a little bit, then I'll do noon. I don't think I've ever done after 4:30 actually.
Okay.
Once in a while, I'll do like a 6 a.m. if like I need to get like a third day in that week and I just can't in the afternoon.
Yeah.
But I'm not a morning person, so those are special efforts.
Yeah. So that means you see Paul quite a bit.
Yep.
What's a Paulism? What's something that he maybe says regularly, or you're like, is there anything that?
I don't know if it's like something that he says regularly, but often when he asks like question of the day, he'll like ask kind of like one that you have to think about, and then he'll just like ask like the first whoever's close to him, and they're always like, well, can you answer first? Give me a second. So, and then he's like always laughs and does. But Paul always does this thing when he's like, when you're going to run, he always tells you how to run, which is great because there is good form to that. But I've never like seen somebody like be like, all right, now pick your foot up like directly under your leg. So I guess that's something I noticed about him. Like, no one else tells you how to run really.
It's just something that you figure out because that's how you move.
You've done it your whole life, right? You run.
Yeah.
So yeah. But Paul is so good. Like he's who I see the most in terms of coaches, and he has a son that's not too much older than mine, but enough older that like I can ask him about those milestones. Like, oh, when did like Jameson start walking? You know, so I really enjoyed getting to know Paul, and he's super knowledgeable about like working out. So like he'll come over and like help you fix a thing with your stance or with your form. And so like I really have enjoyed working with him.
Awesome. What's been the biggest change? I know you said you've added strength and that kind of thing. Is that kind of been the biggest change for you?
Yeah. I did like cross country in high school, so I've been in good shape at different parts in my life where like I felt that, but I've never been like, I can tell I'm stronger. Like I help a friend move, and there have been items like that I'm like not interested in moving that now like don't seem so bad. Like it's practical even, you know, and like I can hit the ball a lot further on the golf course now. Like, you know, I've got probably 20, 25 yards from when I started. So I definitely like the strength, and I've never strength trained. I never did lifted weights in high school, anything like that. And so this is the first time I've put in that effort, and it's been fun to see the results.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you golf with the same buddies pretty regularly?
I wish they would golf more regularly, but most often probably with like my dad and brother.
Yeah.
But I have a decent crew here that I can get to play. Like I'll probably play like 2 or 3 times in a month, hopefully a little bit more.
Right.
And I'll probably play with like once with each of them in the month.
Yeah.
So
I wondered if they had noticed your distance, like significant increase in distance like that.
Yeah, my dad definitely did. When we were in Vegas, and this is going to sound conceited, and I hope that it doesn't, but we're in Vegas, and it's a par 4, and there's a group in front of us on the green, and it's 341 yards. And I know that because I was standing on a stone that said 341 yards. And of course, I'm going to hit the golf ball because what sort of arrogant person? I don't hit the ball 300 really. And It helped that the grass there is dormant. So a lot of this is roll. But I'm like, I'm not going to tell the group I'm playing with, I better wait till they get off the green. Like, that's absurd. They would be like, you're dumb. Hit the ball. Yeah. So I just go up and hit it. And I hit it through the green. And the guys on the green were not happy. But I got up there. I was like, what am I supposed to do? Like, I've never hit the ball this far in my life. And like I said, a lot of it's roll. But like, there's no way I'm getting there before CrossFit for sure. Like, so a few people notice, I guess. I've become a danger to people around me on a golf course, unfortunately.
So you've helped a lot of friends move like we all have. Does that mean that are you putting the gym on notice and the listeners on notice, like Tommy will come help you move?
I actually do love helping people move. I don't know why, but like it's like a practical way to be like to help like serve someone.
Yeah.
And it's fun. And I have a deeply held belief that helping someone move is like an American tradition, in that if you ask somebody to help you move, you better provide beer and pizza. So I will be disappointed if that isn't a part of the deal. Like, I'm going to help you move. You got to provide some beer and pizza.
Amazing.
And if you don't, you messed up.
The 3 things go together: moving, beer, and pizza.
Exactly.
Go together.
Yeah,
I got you.
Yeah, it's
awesome.
a part of the deal. And I've had friends help me move, and I make sure they know before, like, there will be plenty of beer and pizza involved. So,
what's your biggest CrossFit goal moving forward?
I want to get a muscle up really bad, but
bar or ring?
Bar.
Yeah.
I don't know which one's harder. Which one's harder?
It depends on the person, I think.
Yeah, because I can do I started to get the pull-ups down, and so I'm like, I feel like I should be able to do this, but it's been challenging for me. So I'd like to be able to do that movement. I want to be able to do like the hard gymnastic movements, like pistols and stuff, but like I'm not very close to that right now. But those would be my next goals, is to like be able to do every movement that a workout has. You know, like to be able to not modify would be like my long-term goal. And so like short-term goals have been like getting a handstand push-up, which I now have. and so stuff like that.
So did you see that Austin, Teresa, and Logan are going to be coaching a gymnastics class?
I did not.
That's starting in May.
Okay.
And it's going to be once a week. It's going to be either Saturday or Sunday, I think. And it's only, for 12 weeks basically.
Okay.
And they're going to do a gymnastics class, and you can be any level, right? You can be complete beginner, or you can be kind of in the middle, or that intermediate, or even advanced. And they're going to teach a gymnastics class and cover those types of things.
I'll have to definitely check that out, because it's good to have like dedicated practice to it, like I mentioned that earlier. So
awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. Well, man, this has been a great interview. I really appreciate you taking the time on a Monday morning, especially getting out here and sharing your story. Any shout outs you want to give to you talked about you made some friends in class. Who do you want to shout out in class?
I really enjoyed getting to know Cody. He's from Arkansas, and he likes the Razorbacks, which I have no hard feelings towards the Razorbacks, so it's fine. But he's a great guy. He's fun to chat with. Jordan's a newer member that always says hi. Pretty much anybody in 430. Mark is always I know he coaches some too, but he's just a goof, positive guy. Brings a lot of good energy to classes. And then definitely Paul, and Austin and Emily, who I've been coached by the most.
Awesome.
They're great. So
yeah, thanks so much for being here. If you are listening, make sure that you're subscribed to our podcast or the YouTube channel so you know when the next episode drops. Thanks so much, Tommy, for being here. Congratulations on being our April Athlete of the Month, and we'll see everybody next time.